Yo, Bracy Skills Clinic with another video. Happy Friday. As you can see, got a nice little touch up, man. Shout out my boy Don. Okay, I'm gonna put his information in the description box just in case you're in the area, man. My boy Don's Instagram, man. He got bars, man. But anyways, I'm gonna get straight to the point. I'm gonna explain why. You know what I always say at the beginning of all my videos. It's my opinion. You don't have to agree. It is okay to disagree. But I'm going to tell you why I think the 2001 Los Angeles Lakers is the best team ever, in my opinion. Okay? So, I'm going to just, some people like to hide their age and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that, man. I was born in 1991. Okay? So, you can guess my age. All right? I'm about to turn 30 in about a month and a half. So, I am getting up there. But, I understand that I didn't see everything. I missed the Showtime Lakers. I didn't see the Boston Celtics with Larry Bird. I missed that. I was a kid during Jordan's run with the Bulls. But as far as the 2000s, I remember that a lot. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I'm going to tell you why I think the 2001 Los Angeles Lakers are the best team ever. Okay, 2000, the year 2000, they won a championship. They finally got over the hump after years of disappointment. And then 2001 came. Okay, 2001, if I can remember, Shaquille O'Neal had a couple injuries that kept him out a few games. I think Derek Fisher sat out some games. So they had some injuries going into the 2001 playoffs. The team that was the number one seed that year in the West was the San Antonio Spurs. Excuse me. Okay? But I'm gonna educate you young bulls. Because I know some of you guys were actually like born in 2001 or born in like 2005, so y'all may not know. But at that time, the Western Conference was super, super loaded. It was super top heavy to the point where whoever was getting out the West was most definitely winning the championship. So after Jordan's 6-ring run, the West went on, they won, I want to say, 6 straight championships until the 2004 Pistons, I believe. Okay? But anyways, so the Lakers and the Spurs were the top 2 teams in the West that year. Okay, but you also had the Portland Trailblazers, who almost beat the Lakers the year before in the Western Conference Finals. Okay, that's the Damian Stoudemire, Rasheed Wallace, those boys, right? Okay, you also had a young Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash. Their duo was starting to come up, so you had the Dallas Mavericks. They were hanging around. You also had Kevin Garnett with the Minnesota Timberwolves. They were hanging around. Okay, Sacramento Kings. We know Chris Webber. That particular year, it was Jason Williams. This is before Mike Bibby got there. Okay, so you had those teams going around, and you had a couple other little, decent little teams that wasn't really making too much noise. Like the Rockets were kind of on the end, but they, Steve Francis and Catino Mobley, they were okay. But the big dogs were all the bigs. It was the Spurs, it was the Mavericks, it was the Lakers, it was the Kings, it was the Blazers. Those were the top teams, right? All top heavy. You had the Spurs who won a championship in '99, and you had the Lakers who won in 2000, and you had the Blazers who went to the Western Conference Finals back-to-back years. So the Portland Trailblazers lost to the Spurs in the 99 Conference Finals. And then a year later, they lost to the Lakers in the 2000 Conference Finals where the infamous alley-oop from Kobe to Shaq, right? So the Blazers were definitely a threat. And then you had the Kings, like I just named you, all the Kings and Mavericks and the Timberwolves were they were heading in the right direction, but they wasn't quite there yet, but they were still a threat, right? In 2001, the Lakers swept all of them. They swept the Portland Trailblazers. They swept the Sacramento Kings. And the Spurs, who were the number one seed that year, Tim Duncan, prime Tim Duncan, David Robinson, they swept them too. Not only did they sweep all of them, the margin of point, like for wins, were crazy. Like in that conference finals, the Spurs lost every game by, I believe, double digits except for maybe game 2, I think. I know for a fact Game 3 and Game 4 in Staples Center, they ran the Spurs smooth out the gym. Okay? They were that dominant. So, at the same time, you had Allen Iverson. This was the infamous 2001 run, the MVP of the league that year. The Sixers, they had 2 Game 7 series. It started with the Raptors in the second round, and they went 7 with the Bucks in the conference finals, right? Listen to what I'm saying. The Lakers swept everybody. So if you know playoff basketball, when you sweep, you're waiting for the next team to finish their series. The Lakers, I don't know the exact day. Somebody can Google it, but the Lakers had a crazy, crazy layoff before the finals after sweeping 3 rounds, okay? After that layoff, they had to play the Sixers, where Iverson beat him in overtime, that infamous crossover or step back where he stepped over Tyronn Lue. That was after a long layoff for the Lakers. It was a crazy layoff, and the Sixers were, still in rhythm because they had just went 7 with the Bucks. So the Lakers lost Game 1 in overtime. And after that, they beat the Sixers 4 straight times. Series over. Champions. Okay? Now, 2001, the first round series did not go, it wasn't best of 7, it was best of 5. So if you win 3 times, you move on to the next round. So by the record, I think the Warriors have the best playoff record. Was it 2018, I believe, with KD? I think they went 16-1, so that is the best playoff record, but it's only the best because the first round was only best of 5. But the reason why I say that Laker team is the best I've ever seen was Kobe and Shaq was, oh my god. Like, they were dominant for 3 years, but that year, they were incredible, dude. Like, the numbers they were putting up, and when people used to say, like, oh yeah, Shaq carried Kobe to those first 3 rings, go look at what Kobe was averaging. In particular, the 2001 playoffs. Go look at what Kobe was averaging. That's not being carried, the numbers he averaged. And Shaq was just so dominant. And then you had Derek Fisher, Robert Horry, Rick Fox hitting threes. You know who was at the end of their rotation, the Lakers, that year? It was Bay Area's own Isaiah Ryder. He was towards the end of that rotation, if I'm not mistaken. That's how deep the Lakers were. And they had a lot of key role players. They had Ron Harper coming off the bench. I believe Horace Grant was on that team at the end of his career. That's my opinion, man. That is the most dominant team I've ever seen. If you go back and look at those games on how they were just embarrassing. Top tier teams. They weren't just playing against nobody. They were playing against superior teams and sweeping them. Not just beating them, 4-2, 4-1. They were sweeping them. Sweeping them. Hey, man, you don't have to agree. I know some people are going to say Warriors with KD. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Okay? But that Laker team with Kobe and Shaq and those role players, best I ever saw. Comment if you think otherwise. We out.